psychologist, if they're treating you from a humanistic perspective, is what?
Raise your self-awareness to be in tune with reality.
Yeah, so to match your self-concept with reality, okay? And they feel that anxiety is caused by an incongruent self-concept. So your self-concept, meaning what you think about yourself, doesn't match reality. See, I have something different showing on my computer. Okay, I'm just going to keep talking until this gets fixed. All right, and then they also felt, let me see, where was I going with this? Oh, what was the type of therapy called?
Self-centered therapy.
Not self.
Oh, self-concept.
Person-centered or client-centered therapy. Okay? Person-centered or client-centered. This is still for humanists. And the psychologists and humanists, they're known for giving unconditional positive regard. So make sure you guys have that. So they're always kind of like making you, feel happy or good about yourself. Like they'll basically listen to you and they provide clarification. That's another thing, clarification. Because you'll say something and they'll be like, oh, so what you mean is this, and then they'll say it. And then another thing. Okay, I'm just restarting. What else did they do? Humanists. I think that's it. I think we're good on humanists. Okay, so that's humanism. Oh, we have the desire to fulfill our potential. That's humanism also, okay? And we'll hit humanism later in the year too, again. Just like we did behaviorism just now a lot. Okay. And then the next thing is cognitive. So it went from internal mental events to observable behavior back to kind of like, I don't know, like how we feel about things and matching our, self-concept with reality. And then it goes to cognitive, which is back to like mental events. Okay, so a cognitive behaviorist is interested in studying what?
The way people think.
I'm not a cognitive behaviorist, cognitive psychologist. The way people think, like how we process things mentally, how we solve problems, for example. That's all cognitive psych. Do you guys remember who?
John
Piaget.
That was me, but I don't remember.
Yeah, so Piaget, good. And
Noam Chomsky.
Noam Chomsky. So the study of language is cognitive. The study. Okay, sorry. Technical difficulties. Is it still filming?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, hang on. We're almost done with this chapter. It just has the apple on here and an arrow. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. This is like a brand new computer. It's giving me problems.
Should we start the loading?
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Oh, miss, your video's uploaded.
Bob? Oh, it's up there now? Oh, okay, good. So you're right, it just took time. And what did you search?
Just Wydra.
Oh, okay, good. Alright, I'll keep uploading, or after we're done, I guess I'll upload the rest. Hopefully as people. Okay.
Wow, I have to go tomorrow now. That is so cute, I have to go tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow.
Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah, person-centered, here we go. Cognitive. So yeah, the main people are Piaget and Chomsky, and cognitive, remember, is what symbol? The brain, okay, so it's how people think about events. Today, cognitive is probably the most popular. Next is biological, so what's that one?
Like body and behavior.
Body and behavior, and it all has to do with, like, you know, neurotransmitters and your biological structure. Anything from chapter 3 is basically the biological perspective, okay? How would they seek to treat any disorder? Medication, okay? So, depression, for example, what?
Antidepressants.
Prozac or SSRIs, right? Come on, be specific. Anyone can say antidepressants. An AP Psych student can say SSRI. Alright. Evolutionary, the goal is survival. Survival of yourself and the species. Okay, natural selection, blah, blah, blah. That's all evolutionary, based on Darwin. Sociocultural is a more recent one. Might not be on the AP test. But that's where the way you behave is influenced by, like, your gender, your religion, the society, or the community that you come from. Okay? Okay. I think there's this, like, timeline thing. Okay. APA membership, obviously, like, as the years go on, there are more members of the APA. Okay, different types of psychology. So there's clinical, this is important, there's clinical psych and there's applied psych, okay? Which is the one where you go to a therapist and they help you with your problems? Clinical, because think of going into a clinic. Anything that has to do with research, like social psych, educational psych, what's the one with the businesses? Industrial organizational psych. Any of those they're all applied. Okay? So any, like, research-based psychology is applied. Anything where you're actually dealing with patients and helping patients is clinical. Got it? Think of going in a clinic. Okay? Developmental is another type of applied. Okay, the theme, psychology is empirical, it should be measured and observable, right? Theoretically diverse, so there are different theories. Is one of them right? No, right? There are parts of psychoanalytic that are good. There are parts of behavioral that are good. There are parts of humanistic and so on. It evolves, it's ever-changing, right? Behavior is determined by multiple causes, right? It's not all genetics, it's not all environment. There's a mix of it. Shaped by cultural heritage, heredity, environment, again, influence each other. People's experience of the world is highly subjective. Two people could be looking at the same thing and see different things. We saw that with, remember, reversible figures in sensation and perception? Okay, all right, so that's it for chapter 1. Chapter 2 is the math chapter. You guys ready for that? I know. It's going to seem easier the second time we go through it, I'm sure. Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the research enterprise. Okay. So, in psychology, we have to conduct experiments. Why? To prove what? Cause and effect. Can we ever say that X causes Y without an experiment? No. All we have without an experiment is a correlation. And correlations are important. You know, they show a link that kind of indicate, oh, we should study this further. But they cannot determine cause. So remember, correlation does not equal causation. Okay? So before you conduct an experiment, you make an educated guess about the relationship between X and Y. What's that called?
Hypothesis.
See, you know this stuff. It's not that hard. Okay. During a psych report, at the end, you talk about your basically conclusions of the study. What's that section called? In like a psych report, in a psych journal, like you'll have like, you know, the abstract and then the methods and the procedure, or sorry, materials, procedure. It's called the discussion.
Oh.
So the conclusion in a psych report is called the discussion. You might be testing on that. The variables, okay? There's the independent variable and there's the dependent variable. Let's come up with a study and we'll try and figure it all out. So let's go to Ben Durant, okay? What was the video I showed you guys on the Bobo doll? What did it show? Watching aggression. So when children watch adults being aggressive, it causes their behavior to be aggressive. Okay? Now think of this carefully. What would be the independent variable and what would be the dependent variable? The independent variable is manipulated. The dependent variable is measured. Remember, kids are dependent and we measure them as they grow. Okay. So what would be measured?
The kid's aggression.
The kid's aggression level. Good. And what would be the independent variable? What can be controlled or manipulated?
The viewing of the model.
The viewing of the model who is being violent toward the Bobo doll. Okay, remember you want to be very clear. Alright? Now, in determining if the kids are aggressive, so in measuring that dependent variable, what do we need? So that every psychologist who's looking at the study is measuring the same thing. What is that called? What is aggression? How are we going to measure that? Operational definition. How many times he hits the Bobo doll within 1 minute? Or how many times he uses objects other than his fist to hit the Bobo doll? Okay? That's the operational definition. Without it, you know, how are you going to conduct a reliable study? And we'll get to reliability and validity after. Okay? So, here we go. You have your independent variable, which is the variable that's manipulated. That's the thing that you're tinkering with. Okay? The dependent variable is the variable that is measured. Remember, DV depends on IV. So their aggression depends on whether or not they see the aggressive adult. Okay? So you can write down in your notes, DV depends on IV. DV is measured, just like kids are dependents and kids are measured. IV is manipulated, just like you manipulate your parents who are independent. You shouldn't, but you do. Okay? Now we have the control group and we have the experimental group. So in the Bobo doll study, let's do the experimental group first because that's easier. Who is in the experimental group? The kids who see the aggressive video. Okay? In the control group, you know, it's up to the scientists. It could be the kids who watch a video